Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of the Sherlockian interview. Today we have James Macaluso. He has inspired us all with the Sherlock Holmes reimagined in Lego. And James, where are you dialing from?
From Reading, England.
Reading, England. Well, normally these interviews are done with people on the other side of the world, but you literally can't quite throw a cricket ball to you, but you're pretty close.
Yeah.
Tell us what first inspired you to do these amazing illustrations.
Okay. Well, I always liked Lego growing up, played with as a child, stopped, of course, as we hit the teenage years, but picked it up again after university, in graduate school. And I always liked Sherlock Holmes, and I was reading the books. And about 10 years ago, my wife and I moved from the United States to Europe, and we had a really small flat in Paris. And I could not create big Lego scenes. And so I thought, why not merge my two interests together, Sherlock Holmes and the books of Sherlock Holmes, and Lego. And so I started taking a few photos. I did that for maybe a year. And I finally reached out and found MX Publishing.
Fantastic, James. And so you see the different stories here. We started with the adventures. How do you go about choosing the scenes to illustrate?
Well, for me, part of the Sherlock Holmes stories, a big part that brought it to life were the illustrations by Sidney Paget in the original Sherlock Holmes stories. And so what I did was I tried to recreate his pen and ink drawings and do that in Lego. And so what I have to do is look at his illustrations and try to set scenes and design scenes using the Lego minifigures you see and the pieces that are available from Lego.
And obviously you have to do some painting of some of these, I guess, or some changes to some of the figures?
No, I've tried to be as true as possible. So for my stories, everything you see is actually made by the Lego company. I haven't altered anything at all. Some people do. They try to create their own minifigure faces and designs of the clothing, but everything you see in my stories have been made by Lego for some other line, whether it's Harry Potter or something like that. And I just repurpose it as best I can.
Fantastic. And in terms of the 12 books that were originally published with the original stories with your figures and pictures, this is kind of my favorite because it has a real mix of internal and external scenes.
Yeah, for me, it's one of my favorite also. I liked doing the illustrations. Like you said, there's some indoor, outdoor scenes. You could see on the left-hand side, they have people outside running away with the street lamp, very London for me. And also, it's a great Christmas story. Everybody realizes it's Sherlock Holmes' Christmas story. And it's a little lighthearted and fun. So I enjoyed the story itself, and then of course creating the illustrations for it.
Fantastic. And you've got a new book coming, which we've the Kickstarter is about to launch for, A Baskerville Curse. Now, this is the second book that you've done that's a Sherlock Holmes alphabet. So talk us through this one, James.
Yeah, well, like you said, it's a second in my alphabet series. I got inspired to move away a little bit from the stories of doing the Sidney Paget, but creating some of my own images and writing an alphabet. There's an American, he's passed away, an American artist and writer, Edward Gorey, if people are interested. And he did a lot of these adult alphabet type of things. And so I thought it would be a fun idea for the Baskerville Curse, my favorite Sherlock Holmes story, The Hound of the Baskervilles, and try to do an alphabet where the first scene starts with A, and then we continue on through Z.
And I guess here's two of the wonderful scenes from the book. This gave you a bit more creative license, I guess, because with the adventures you're mirroring Sidney Paget, and with these are scenes you're recreating to match the letters.
Yeah, I mean, some of the images people will notice if they do know the Sidney Paget illustrations, they may be somewhat similar because obviously you're going through the story from the beginning chapter 1 through the end. And so some images may have some similarity, but right, I was trying to use these words and then trying to build scenes around them. But of course, the scene of the moor will be familiar to many people who have read The Hound of Baskervilles, obviously, because it's the location plays such a large part in the story itself.
I know I've got some real favourites within all of these that you've created, James, and I know the fans watching, the burning question is going to be, what happens to these amazing scenes after you've taken the photo and after you've created the book?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I have thousands of Lego pieces that I try to use, and Lego makes now hundreds of thousands of different ones. So after I build the scenes and I photograph them, some are decorating different areas of my house. I've kept them because I've liked them, or if I think I can use them in the future, some of the furniture pieces, the chairs, things like that, I reuse in other photos. But since I've done 150 different scenes, different photos, I can't keep them all around the house. There's just no room for it. And so what I do is the models I don't want to keep, I break them down and I reuse the pieces for other Lego models that I have to create. Because again, well, unfortunately, Lego is very expensive if anyone is into the hobby of using Lego. And yeah, there's a space constraint. And so I recycle the pieces and use those for future models.
Fantastic. For a future interview, James, I'd be really interested to know which ones have survived.
Okay.
For those fans watching, if you'd like to find out more about James's Sherlock Holmes series reimagined using Lego, you can visit James's author profile. Thanks so much, James. It's been really fascinating talking to you, and look forward to reading the new book.
Great. Thank you.